Hi, welcome to the Mom Files, Moments of Motherhood podcast, a place where the hard things have room to exist without shame.
If you're a mom, you'll get realistic routines, gentle validation, and encouragement to try new things. We're here to be your village, a judgment-free zone for modern motherhood. Take what fits for you and leave the rest.
We're happy you're here. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Mom Files. I'm Hav.
And I'm Aleea.
And today we're going to dive into the hard balance of wanting to give your kids everything, yet also being stretched thin, potentially financially, whether mentally, physically, whatnot. Today, I think we're going to dive a little more into the financial parts of it. And for many of us parents, adults, people that live in this economy, the stress really starts a lot before the beginning of the holidays. Especially, I know Aleea and I, we want to decorate for our kiddo. But between the year-end expenses, kids' wish list, oh my gosh, my 3-year-old and her wish list right now. Family, travel, especially if you have a family like mine where there are so many get-togethers that you're expected to go to. There's social pressures. There's making it, you want to make it magical for your kids. Even if you don't celebrate the typical holidays, there's always pressure to make it magical for your kids, especially if they are in the public world where they're seeing these things. But it's really easy to feel financially stretched before the season begins. So today we're going to chat about how to ease the pressure as much as possible, set realistic expectations, and still try to create that meaningful, magical moments for your kids without feeling guilty or overwhelmed as a mom or parent. So let's dive into it. Yeah, Aleea, do you want to start?
Yeah. And when you were talking about it, especially when you were talking about it starting earlier in the season, like earlier in the year, I was just talking about this with Ty yesterday when we were toting around the store because I love the holidays. I love all the holidays. I love decorating. I love doing all this stuff. But it is crazy how it feels like it's just starting earlier. And I'm trying. So it's like, even right now. We were walking around. I'm trying to enjoy Halloween and think about this season. And then the stores are already pushing Christmas. I walked into, I think it was Walmart or Target, and the shelves are already literally full. And it's hard to be enjoying the season when I feel like I'm now already forced to start processing the next season. I'm like, oh, I need that for Christmas. Oh, do I need to buy this now? Is it going to be sold out? Which that is a different topic. But, there's this pressure. It comes out and you're like, I need all of this stuff already. And I think also with social media, it kind of does the same thing. It's you get on and influencers are already showing their Christmas DIYs and their gift giving and decorating their house, which is great. And then it makes me want to do it. But I'm like, wait, I'm still trying to enjoy October and Halloween, which isn't even here yet.
Let's not even talk about the pressure of moving so quickly while I was trying to deal with toddlers and infants and stuff. But no, I know for us, I think Halloween decorations started going out in the store end of July here. Mm-hmm. It might have been more August, but I remember literally walking in Lowe's with Azzy and her being like, Mommy, can we get this? And she loves the animatronics. It doesn't matter how scary they are. She wants them all. So we walk into Lowe's and there's 6 and she wants it all. And one, it's not the time to decorate. So it's not socially acceptable. But that's not even the point. It's just they're starting so early. And it's like when you go to the zoo and the last place that you walk through is the gift store. They know what they're doing putting these decorations out, especially with families with kids. And it makes it really hard because I know for us, we couldn't even afford spider webs this year. So seeing that, it's definitely the pressure. And then, you walk in and I'm just starting to think about Halloween decorations and then it's Christmas decorations or the Christmas sale. Azzy just circled a whole bunch of stuff in a Christmas book that came 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And it's funny because there's two things with that. One, it is hard because there, for example, with Azzy and the wish list, the wish list is probably going to change anyway by the time Christmas rolls around. So it's thanks for hyping us up when.
Well, that's what I was going to add too, because especially it's a little bit more now that she's older. It's she wants Barbies and whatever. But when I was doing wish lists last year, and I'm sure even with Dash, November, December, that's a whole milestone stage. So you go and buy stuff. Is he going to want it in 3 months?
Yeah. And it's even with clothes. I'm like looking at the Christmas jammies and all of that. And I'm like, is that even going to fit him if I get it now? Or, I even am looking with the clearance stuff. You're like, oh, Halloween's already going on clearance. And then it's like, oh, is that going to fit or work for next year?
Right.
But I do think there is a plus. Like, I do like it coming out earlier because I am this is where that more type C is. I do like planning some stuff. I like having the holidays out a little earlier. Like, I don't want to be rushing all of October to then take it down, mid-November or whatever. But it's like what you said with July. I'm like, maybe we could start it a little closer to back to school versus July, June. We're already feeling like the pressure
Or
of
if you're
Halloween when we haven't.
like, you're gonna have me buy decorations 4 months ahead, give me a discount?
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's just so hard. But you made a good point when it comes to them wanting all. It's hard because you want to do it all, but it's also financially not feasible. Everything costs so much these days. Like, there's just I don't know, there's just such a back and forth. There's such a pressure to keep up with everyone, obviously because of social media, things like that. Advertising makes you want to, that's where I kind of came in with the wanting to buy everything and things selling out. But then, yeah, it's just then there's this pressure of, can I afford it all? So yeah, I think there's a lot of stress when it comes to it.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's some things I know that at certain ages, I feel like it's a little bit easier to get away with. We're not doing this big shebang because you're just like learning about it. But every year it does get more and more. So there's lots of little things too that Tony and I do to try to like mitigate, like maybe us not decorating like the outside of our home, keeping decorations from the year before. I know we have a lot of friends who, when Halloween is over, they'll go and they'll buy like 6 costumes for like $10 each. But to your point is making sure that you get a size that they're going to be able to fit into.
Right.
Or like, yeah. So like, I know with Azzy, I buy her costumes every year. I buy them like 2 sizes too big because she's going to want to dress up in them all year.
Yes.
But could I tell you what size she's in 6'7"? Like, what if I buy an 8'9", is she going to fit in an 8'9", or is she going to be like an 11'12"?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we are obviously jumping ahead a little bit, but I actually think you brought up some really good points that we need to address. Is one, buying sizes up, obviously. I love the idea. I think that's a great way to get more use out of your costumes, though, is dress up. Think of other ways you can use these costumes for your kids. But then when you were saying that, I think could actually be another great idea is if you do have a bunch of mom friends or different friends with kids and stuff, another thing you could do at the end of the season is swap costumes. That's a great time to do a little swappy swap, get prepared for next year, especially if maybe their kid's a little bigger. It's like, hey, I'll take that off your hands type thing. You're helping the environment. You're saving some money, that type of thing. So yeah, I think those are really good points. Is you could definitely buy them cheaper, but I think it is a good time, if you do, is to maybe do like a little costume swap, kind of like party or something, which could be fun.
That is a really fun idea. And I think too, like, that kind of leads of a good point though, like, not everybody is crafty. Not everybody like, for me, I am starting to like, her costume's 3 sizes too big. I have a sewing machine. I'm going to go get safety pins and hem it up so that I can take it out later. Not everybody feels comfortable doing that. So is that realistic for everybody buying a costume that their kid's going to trip in? Not necessarily, but great idea for costume swaps. I know a really big one for us at this age with Azzy that we can talk about. And you might be feeling the pressure for this too, because I know I did when Azzy was like 1. All the crafts. I see so many crafts that I want to do with her. But one, like, what's the realistic age to start crafting with them? Do we have to go buy all these things? And I have some tips that I've started. But like, yeah, how are you seeing these crafts? Are you feeling like you need to go dip Dash's foot and make a or hand and do turkey? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes. And I actually felt like this pressure more last year with him being new. You're like, oh, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to be able to do it every year and have all these like memories and like the type of thing. Like I felt like I was like, I need to do this and a million of them so then I can keep doing them. And then I was also like, is that realistic? Am I going to want to keep doing them? So it has gotten better. I do have a hard time. It actually got really realistic because I've been kind of doing some learning stuff and there's sometimes crafts that we do. And that made me real aware of his capabilities right now in crafting. So that I felt like was where I could be like, okay, maybe we aren't into the craft era yet, but we do things that are things we both can do. Like I do, like right now, I do the foot or the handprint in clay and make it a ghost. And we save that every year. Like simple things like that are kind of hands-on together, but it's simple. And I also just buy a big thing of air dry clay and keep reusing it. Yeah. So I think that's one way, but I do find it hard. So I think that one thing is like thinking about crafts that you already have on hand. Like I already have paper. Like I said, I already do have some clay, things like that. So doing crafts that we do already have. And then if there's things I don't have, I think, what is it that I really want to do and is it worth our time? And then trying to maybe pick one because you do still deserve to have fun and to stretch a little, but yeah, still trying to be within like budget.
Yeah. And I think that's too the thinking about what you have the capacity for cleaning up. I remember the first time I pulled out paint for Ozzy and I was like, we're gonna do like the turkey thing. No, I was not prepared for the mess. The next time I did it, I was mentally prepared and I was like, go ham. Let's take off your shirt. You hand paint. This is at like 1.5, right? And then I thought that I was going to save every little thing that she did. I'm not even talking about holiday crafts, just crafts in general. And you get to the point where you're just like little blobs of paint. And I'm like, okay, like, are we going to need to remember that she was able to smash her hand in some paint? Stuff like that. But on the note of think about crafts that you have access to, also don't forget about your local library.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
very small town, like a small town. We have one close library to us. I know most libraries have kid areas and they supply craft stuff. And it's not always what you want, but I know ours, they have scissors, they have glue, they have colored pencils, and sometimes the librarians will cut out like little different, like so they can make different crafts. So I highly suggest checking into your local library. And if there's things that you can't afford or I don't allow her to have glue in my house. Guess where we do glue? The library. Where does she practice her cutting skills? The library. So I think there's definitely things that like it's hard, especially when you have so much on your mental load and to think about like going out of your way to find somewhere public to go to. And I know for some, there's also the stress of like, well, how's my kid going to act at the library? It's the kids section for a reason. So try that out. See how it goes. Librarians usually love children. So
yes, definitely. I'm really glad you brought that up actually, because in Washington, at least in the Eastern Washington, so where I live in like the Chelan area, Wenatchee area, things like that, they have NCW libraries and they do a ton of stuff. And they also offer a lot of online stuff as well. But I do know ours is about to get a renovation. So definitely check them out because they do offer a ton of resources. And I mean, our taxpayer dollars don't go to it. So, you might as well be using the resources that you help pay for.
Yeah. And just a little side note, because I know this isn't necessarily crafts. However, during the holiday season, some local museums and like children's museums will put up exhibits that are more. I just found out my library has like a certain amount of season passes and you can rent a pass for a day or two and you can go to the children's museum. So there's stuff like that. Little sidebar, but the library is a really great resource.
And I think to tag on to local stuff, also check your Facebook Marketplace for craft supplies. So if you are someone who is looking, just a side note with the crafting section, if you are, look at Facebook Marketplace, Goodwills, thrift stores, yard sales. Those are really good places to get stuff secondhand. I know where I live locally, we actually have like a no sell page where people just give away stuff. So I'm sure if you live somewhere like that, definitely check those out because they're a great resource. And not even just for like crafts, anything, house supplies, kids stuff. So if you're someone who is on a budget and looking, that is a great thing. So to kind of keep this conversation going with budget, because obviously there can be a lot of stress around that, whether you're just already making it as is as a family or unexpected costs that pile up, especially around the holidays. Hav and I have been talking about this recently just because in our own personal lives, we've had random things come up. For example, we had a water leak. Hav potentially had car stuff. that type of thing. So this is a good time to kind of think about tips to help with budget. And so one thing I definitely suggest is to simplify your kids' gifts. And I know this can be hard, but I know one thing that's helped some people is using this kind of like 4 gift rule. And so thinking of like something they want, they need, wear, and read. And so just trying to find things within that. I know one thing like thrifting also makes really good gifts. My mom used to always buy me thrifted gifts. And especially if you raise your children to be kind and compassionate, they'll be grateful for whatever you give them. So just remember that you can provide love in what they need, but it doesn't have to be in like a full capacity, expensive way.
Yeah. And I think at this age too, which is obviously the only ages we know is up to this 3.5 or whatever.
You could give Dash a rock. So that's...
Yeah, they only make as big of a deal as we tell them to make. So if we're giving them, if I gave Ad 500 Christmas presents last year and they were all these really expensive presents, and then this year, and she does have a memory like an elephant. So yes, I do think she would remember that this year only gave her one thing. So, I mean, I just try to be mindful every year of like, last year I bought way too many presents, so I didn't put them all out. Like, people surprised me and bought her. I never expect other people to buy her presents, but I know you sent her a present, and then like all of her aunts and stuff sent her presents. By the time she opened all those presents, she was just so like, she didn't need another 10 presents. So I put them up, and some of them were smaller. So I gave them to her as like rewards for certain things. But that's something too to just keep in mind is like, if you put out 3 presents and you're like, oh, my baby, I'm so sorry you only get 3 presents. Then they're going to be like, oh, I only get 3 presents. But if you're like, look at this amazing thing. And like, you can make the season magical. I know one thing that we do that Azzy loves, it's not a present thing, but it just makes Christmas magical for her. We go out and we hunt for a special magical pine cone. And she plants the pine cone, and overnight, our tree grows. And that's like the most, and we use the same tree every year. And the pine cone is from our neighbor's yard. One-time cost, there's things like that, which is a yearly thing, but I don't have to keep buying it.
Mm-hmm. I think you make an excellent point of reframing the magic and like creating traditions in ways that are free or repeatable. Like there's so much magic in our mundane daily lives. Like you just said, grabbing a pine cone and turning it into a tree. I know, like, my parents were, like, I had very magical Christmases as kids. Like, I can think of a lot of things that we did, like Christmas light drive, where you just kind of drove. And that can obviously cost because of gas. But maybe you do a walk instead. But driving around, just looking at the Christmas lights, and we ooh and ah, all the pretty lights. Or I know we would do, my mom, we would pick a movie every Christmas Eve and then watch a movie. And then at night, we would read the same book. And it was kind of like the same theme, but we'd pick a movie that we already owned. And it was obviously Christmas related, usually The Polar Express or something. But like we would rewatch it. I just think there's so many ways, like making cookies with ingredients you already have on hand, things like that. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of ways to kind of make magic and do things that are free. I know one like last thinking of like really magical that's kind of on yours is my parents would we'd put obviously cookies for Santa, but also carrots for the reindeer, and they would eat them, and there was like reindeer feet in the yard, and it looked like Santa's sleigh landed and things like that. So it was something really simple that obviously all they did was draw lines in the snow. And one time they left an elf hat with the ears on it, and I was like, why do you like leave his ears? You know how the elf but it's those small like sweet memories, those things that I remember, and none of it, like, except maybe buying the carrots, like none of that costed anything. So I think there's so many ways that you can kind of create magic without spending anything.
I mean, on the opposite side, well, really quick, I was going to say that's a really great one for Halloween too, because we didn't do any Halloween decorations this year. I bought her like a little window decals for her room.
Yes.
Every drive we go on, we play the game of who can spot the most decorations. So she gets to see all these really cool decorations, and she gets to get excited, and like I just hype her up. But that's, we couldn't afford decorations this year, so we did that.
Do you have a podcast and a pile of laundry staring you down? Are you questioning your life choices during nap time or working at midnight with one eye open and 3 tabs running?
Yeah, same. We've lived that chaos. Hey, still living it. That's why we offer podcast editing and post-production services for the moms who have things to say, but zero time to do all the things. Let us help you get your voice out there without losing your mind, your message, or your weekend.
Think less burnout, more snuggles. Less tech stress, more talking to your audience in peace. Interested? Tap the link in the description to learn more. Plus, we offer free discovery calls, no pressure, just real talk to see if we vibe.
Let's make podcasting easier because you're already doing enough. But going back to the holiday magic thing, again, another one, I didn't have any holiday magic growing up. We weren't even allowed trees most of the years. So, but Christmas was still so fun to me. We didn't, it depended what year. My parents were very religious, but it was time for my family to get together, and I got to spend a lot of close time with all my siblings. And I usually got like one present a year, like $1 or something. But there's also that to like family time, right? Like a lot of the stuff that you were explaining is like you got to do with your parents. Right. If we did have a tree, every time we had a tree, we would sleep by the tree one night, just like little stuff like that. But that's just a reminder to say, like, I know I put so much pressure on myself to make the season magical and like create this like fun, but I didn't have it, and I still love Christmas. So I think, there's levels to it, and you can do the small things and just remember it's as magical as we tell them. I thought I was going to be like, we're not doing Christmas. I didn't believe in Santa growing up. She's fine, but I still want to all the time. I'm like, Santa bought it. So cute.
And I think there's two things that come with that is one, I think you make an excellent point that is as we were telling those stories and the things that we remember how we felt, not how much it cost or what they got us. Like I honestly, like there's sure maybe some gifts I remember, but for the most part, that wasn't the things I focused on. It's like the way I felt about things. Like you said, you didn't really do the things and you still remember certain memories, like being together, those things. So I think that is a good reminder, like take a little pressure off yourself. Remember your kids are just happy to be with you and that you're wanting to spend time and do things with them in these magical moments. I think another thing is if you can't, you maybe, one thing I like to do because I do love decoration stuff, but I also am on more of a tighter budget like Hav is I'll maybe buy one thing holiday wise a year or go and get it thrifted just so that I'm like still able to keep growing my collection, but I'm, within reason because we have to remind ourselves that a lot of our grandmas and our moms have massive collections because they've been doing it for, 20, 50 years.
Other thing I know sometimes moms and grandmas have stuff that they don't need anymore and they'll pass down. And is it necessary? All of 90% of my Christmas decorations were my mom's. All of it my aesthetic. No, does Azzy go bonkers for it? Yeah, she's all over those Christmas decorations. And then buying, we like to do I'll buy one or two little things a year. I try to go to craft stores because I think it tends to be a little cheaper than grocery
store.
Yeah. But I think that's a great point. And you can turn their little crafts, the hand clay and stuff into ornaments.
Yes.
I know one thing I loved doing as a kid when we did celebrate Christmas was past a certain point every year we got an ornament. So there are little things and but if you can know what you want to spend money on for the holidays, maybe giving yourself a budget that fits within your family budget and just being realistic about what you can get and learning some DIYs. I made 3 wreaths last year for $25. It was fun.
And honestly, I like the uniqueness of homemade Christmas, especially as I'm getting older. I'm definitely feeling that nostalgia 90s, 2000 Christmassy, even though I know it wasn't but still. So I think there is some magic when it comes to those homemade stuff, especially even if you do it yourself, but especially when your kids do it, because in the years to come, you're going to be like, oh, sweet memories.
Well, and I was going to say too, as you were saying that, just kind of clicked to me a little bit. If you're like me, I am a big gift giver. I will spend way too much money on gifts.
Me too.
I I like stocking. I like stuffing the stocking. I like, having the tree full. But you know what I love the most? And yeah, you do this really well. You're like my friend that reminds me like this stuff is important to me. The homemade stuff. Last year you sent me the potpourri and like the whipped honey, and like that meant way more to me than somebody spending like $50 on something that like I might use once, right? Because it's the love that goes into it and like the little note that you sent me and stuff. And the same can be done for kids. Like I'm thinking probably for the stocking stuffer this year, get a mason jar and do like one of those sparkly, so like she can do like a snow globe thing, And maybe maybe I buy the stuff and she crafts it herself and that's in her stocking stuffer. Even talking about it now is giving me ideas because I know, like Aleea said, we were talking about this recently and I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do this year.
I agree. I honestly hope we all start going to more homemade gifts. Yes, buying stuff is nice, but I love when people, because it's like, not only do they care about you, but they're willing to take time, a few hours of their life to create you something. So I think it is really meaningful. And to add on to your idea, I was actually, to give people some inspiration, I'm making for a lot of kids that I know for Christmas is like homemade Play-Doh. Because one, it's healthier, non-toxic, and it's fun. So it's a win-win,
Yeah. As you just learned what oobleck is. Do you remember oobleck? The cornstarch,
yes.
water.
You can make that.
Yeah. Kids used to sell it when I was in like junior high. So why not put it in your kid's stocking?
And it could be fun too if you get all the ingredients, put it in a mason jar and make it like a science kit. Like, we're
like
going to do
a kit, but like
yeah, but like an oobleck.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, that's a good point because a lot of the Christmas magic, a lot of the pressure, if the only person I had to take care of was my kid, honestly, it wouldn't be that expensive. But I know if there's pressure for like your family members and stuff, think about what you love to do. Do you like making candles? Do you want to try to make candles? I have a million plants. I've cut up a lot of plants. Guess what? Everybody loves my plants. Guess who's getting a plant for Christmas? You, and you. You comment on my plants. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Cards.
Baked goods, breads, jams.
Bread.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I said last year, Aleea sent me potpourri and whipped honey. And
sometimes I send Hav cookies.
Oh, those don't get me started. That is my love language. I love molasses cookies and I can't find them here. I found a store that has them here, by the way. Yes. Very excited.
Right.
But yeah, also, find friends who are amazing.
No, but I think it is a good reminder that if you do have the pressure isn't just about your kids. It's the pressure with everybody. Buying stuff for your, especially if you have a big family. Hav has a really big family. So to me, I would feel pressure to want to get everyone something, but in our budgets, that's not realistic. So yeah, definitely think about other ways. Homemade gifts. Maybe you do like a secret Santa or something where everyone gets one person. Maybe you can work something out with your family. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. And kind of one last thing that I was thinking about when it comes to creating Christmas magic, just because we're all sporadic because we keep coming up with random ideas. But
sorry, we're popping, yeah.
This is one thing I was actually thinking about that could be really fun is anytime before Christmas. I think it'd be really fun, like before Christmas Eve, but obviously decorate with like maybe paper snowflakes, things like that. And then I think it'd be really fun if you have watched the Polar Express so they get it. But getting a bell and shaking it and then they hearing it and you'd be like, oh, I can't hear it, and then like the total like play on it. So I think that could be fun is if you could find ways to do like really cheap, free ways to incorporate some of their favorite Christmas movies like into real life. Because then it would create magic. Like they think they're hearing Santa and us adults don't, but it's not anything like.
I'm gonna make Rose and Blondie be reindeers.
Yeah, how cute would that be? That's what I mean.
All I need is some like paper and
cut them out. Yeah. So I think those are really great tips. Do you have anything else before we kind of wrap up?
I mean, I know we were kind of jumping all over the place. I think just keeping in mind that again, it's more so about like the spirit of the holiday and what you're doing. If you can do crafts or like Aleea said, the snowflake idea, your kid can do that craft. It can be a craft turned into a decoration. But there's things, like the reindeer hoofs and stuff. There's a lot of ways to make this season magical, but it also doesn't have to be the most magical season. You can do things like we talked about if you don't have the capacity or the financial ability to go buy decorations. Fine. I know a lot of areas have local like neighborhoods that go all out for Christmas. Unfortunately, some of them you have to pay to get into. But if you can sleuth, I'm not big on Facebook, but I love a good Facebook group when it comes to my kids. I know everything going on in town now because I'm on all the Facebook pages. I guess what I'm saying, sometimes the holidays just takes a little bit of creativity, and you don't have to be a creative person to do it. You just kind of have to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and think of the little things that you can do to help yourself. And if it's really important for you to do a big extravaganza for Christmas, try to think ahead of time. Buy those gifts in June, buy the little things that are on discount when you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Because, I mean, especially if you are someone like that, I like to get it after Christmas is over. And I know we're already past that, but think about it for next year, maybe you get a couple things this year, and then after the season, you grab even more. Because, like, I know, for example, I got married after Christmas and we did kind of like a Christmas theme. I got trees and decor for like 50 to 75% off because it was in the after season. So it's definitely something to consider. And it is a good reminder. It's so easy to get caught up in the daily pressure of doing it all. And so just remember, it's like what Hav said, the meaningful parts of the holiday aren't like the monetary ones. It's really the spirit and the way you make your kids feel. So only if you can do one or two things, that's still something that they'll remember. And if not, maybe that's just not part of it. And that's okay too. Like, there's however you choose to do it will work, and it'll work best for your family. So that's just something to consider. You don't have to be like every Cindy Lou and have a full, the machine doing the lights on the house. I wish I had one of those. Because even I love the holidays and I want to be that extra. But one, I really don't have the capacity. Two, I do not have the money. And three, I do still have little hands that grab things. So I have to consider that some things are just not safe and ready to come out. So yeah, I think that is a good reminder. Do you have any last minute thoughts?
If you need to, turn off your social media during the holidays. Because I mean, that's where a lot of the toxic positivity around the holidays is, right? Like, look at this Christmas room that I set up. And reminder, 90% of those Christmas trees presents are fake. There's nothing in them. Mm-hmm. So just if this is where the pressure is coming from and you feel like you need to do every little thing that is being done for the kids that are your kids' age, it's not realistic. And those people might not actually be spending the money. They might be they might be going broke for it. They might be getting stuff sent to them. So if you need to, turn off Instagram for a month. It's kind of ridiculous to expect you to do this huge grand thing in your house for 1 month and then turn it down, especially when you have kids under the age of like 12. Like, it's a lot.
Well, and even with that, a lot of these, especially a lot of influencers, they do new themes every year and they don't even keep it, and it's like, that's just not realistic for so many of us. So I do think it's a great reminder that they could not be purchasing it. They could be going into debt for it. Like, you don't know what's going on. Like, that is, for a lot of them, it could be their job. So it's just like, take it with a grain of salt and just appreciate. But remember, that doesn't, like, a lot of us are just trying to create the small magical, within budget, because that's all we got, especially as we keep saying in this economy. Like our parents in this economy.
I'm like, ish, but okay.
But like, so true, valid.
I mean, no, to be fair, side rant, all the decorations I have are my mom's. She didn't have money. How did you get these decorations?
And they were probably passed down to mine, or from my mom as well. And I will say, she actually just this year for Halloween gave me another few boxes, and I was pulling it out. And it's crazy how instant nostalgia. I was like, oh, I feel like a little kid. I was like, I remember when this was up every year. Like, and so I actually like the repeat and getting it passed down, because then, one day I could be like, this was your, grandma's or great grandma's. So maybe your mom got them from.
And I think she did. Gave me a reindeer, like a little, and she was like, yeah, this was your mom's when she was. Kudos to the women on my mom's side, because my grandma had 12 children. So the fact that you saved reindeer until I was 16.
Yeah.
Thank you. But that's exactly. And I didn't have memories of that reindeer, but I remember the day that my grandma gave it to me. And and Azzy loves that thing. I'm like, don't play with it and break it. Point is, Goodwill.
Yes.
Has great stuff, or your local thrift shop that's not Goodwill.
And it's a reminder, there's a lot of love and feeling just within the season if you can find it. So it doesn't have to be, and we get it also can be hard. You could be grieving. You could be going through something really difficult that makes it difficult. So, give yourself grace and just remember that there are other life things coming at you, but you got this. And we hope that you have a successful planning of the holiday season. So with that, stay tuned for the next episode. We are going to be covering the hidden rage of holiday prep. So yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for sharing your time with us today. We're so glad you're part of this messy, beautiful village.
If this episode made you laugh, cry, or feel just a little more human, pass it on to a mom friend who needs it too. And hey, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more moms find the show and gives us a tiny dopamine hit. Let's be real.
Until next week, keep the kids alive and your coffee hot, or at least reheated once.